two friends who love movies and love sharing them with each other. Each week, we take turns picking a film that is close to our hearts and talk about why it moves us, usually. But this week, we are here talking about our reactions to the 2024 Oscars. So they happened last night.
Well, no, by the time this comes out, it'll be...
Yeah, well, as of this recording.
Yes.
Yeah, they happened last night. 2 nights ago as of when this is posted.
Or a million nights ago, depending on when you're listening to this.
Yeah, good point. Yes.
12 years in the future, someone's listening to this.
Anyway, so Tatum and I are both pretty tired, and we're just going to have a chill time, and we've not spoken with each other at all about our Oscar thoughts. Well, except for like the couple of sparse texts that we sent each other during the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're just going to have a chill time and talk about our feelings and our thoughts and anything we're excited about for the future. So yeah, overall, so let's start with just talking about the thoughts about the ceremony overall and kind of things that they tried this year that are different, how it went. I thought it was a pretty smooth, well put together ceremony overall. There are
except for the Melissa McCarthy, who was it?
There are definitely
Octavia
things
Spencer.
I can nitpick.
It's like, what is this?
There were some pretty cringy jokes, but I don't know. It's so par for the course for the Oscars. Well, for most award ceremonies in general, but I feel like there are exceptional hosts out there. Jimmy Kimmel is not an exceptional host. He's a competent host, He's going to keep things moving.
It's better than Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, like, he'll tell some cringy jokes, but it's not going to be anything really like too offensive or out there or awkward. And, they'll give out the awards and it'll be fine. And yeah, so he did an okay job. There were some pretty terrible banter, but then there were some good bits too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like overall, I just felt like the ceremony went pretty smoothly. He kept up a good pace. There were some pretty enjoyable bits, and
I feel like it was record time.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember
it's earlier, right, than normal.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, but even so, I feel like it's typically 4 hours, and this was like less than 3.5, and they even started late. So
yeah,
I remember they started giving out the award for Best Director, and I was like, wait, that's like one of the final awards. Does that mean the ceremony's almost over? It's only 9 o'clock.
Crazy. Plus, they had added in those slightly interminable, although I don't know, the parts where they bring out 5 previous winners of the acting awards.
So many thoughts on this.
Okay, good. We'll talk about it. I have very mixed feelings about that.
My feelings are not mixed. They're not mixed at all.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts on the ceremony overall?
I thought it was fine. I didn't really find anything particularly funny. I like Jimmy Kimmel, but I just feel like, I don't know. We're in this weird place where I feel like all of us know that having award ceremony hosts is just cringe. But then also the Oscars tried to do it without a host and it didn't work. So
I felt like it worked the first time and then they kept trying to recreate that magic and it just never worked again.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things where it's like it's inevitable and you just have to kind of gear up for it. So
it truly is such a thankless job. If you do it right, it's not gonna, if you do an okay job, no one's gonna really remark on it. But if it's gonna be a disaster, you're never gonna live it down. Like, there's very few, it's not really a win-win situation in any situation.
Yeah. So I didn't dislike Jimmy Kimmel. I thought he did a fine job. There were a few jokes that I was like, that kind of bothers me. It rubs me the wrong way a little bit. Yeah. But overall, it was fine. Obviously, like I mentioned, the Melissa McCarthy, Octavia Spencer bit was incredibly awkward and way really too bad. Long. And
I love them both, but that was bad.
It was bad. And they committed and they really kept going, but man, they should have just stopped and been like, all right, this isn't working, right? But yeah, that was probably like the biggest cringe for me of the whole night. I think obviously everyone, including myself, loved the John Cena bit. I thought that was quite funny.
Very funny.
I really enjoyed that a lot. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, if you want to, we can just get into it. But I did not like the choice at all to bring out 5 actors to compliment. We are giving awards to the performances that they gave. We're not here to watch them win an award for the Nobel Peace Prize where we talk about like it just was very odd to bring out. Sometimes the people who spoke to the nominees actually had a personal relationship with them, but then other times they didn't, and it was like, so we're just supposed to sit here and listen to someone else who has this like privileged position give an ego boost to another person who has a privileged position, and we don't have any like personal connection to this at all. I don't know. I always personally, ever since I started watching the Oscars, quite honestly, my favorite parts of the whole ceremonies is when they show the clips of the performances before the nominees. Like, I always love that. And I didn't know that they were taking that out this year. And I was like, what is happening? And I was like, well, maybe they're just doing it for the supporting actor. And then they did it every time. And I was like, this is weird. I don't care about this. This feels very like kind of pretentious almost. And also this is taking up so much time because some people, they're just long in general, but then some people read a lot slower. And it like
it felt so counterbalanced because it's like, I mean, you know, the actors obviously are the face of movies. They're the reason that people go to movies. Like, you know, obviously they occupy this privileged position within the film industry as a whole. But it really did feel like, let's take the people who already have the most sort of privilege and recognition and just give them a little bit more. I didn't really understand the point of it because there were, especially the very first one, it really seemed like all of the people they chose had a personal connection of some sort to the supporting actress. But as time went on, it was like, what is the connection here? Did they star in a movie together? Do they know each other? It was so distracting trying to figure out why they chose this particular person to compliment this other person. And it was like, it
was weird. It was very weird.
It was strange. It took up a lot of time. I also would have preferred the clips. I mean, it's nice seeing some of these, you know, and some of them had won quite a while ago. And so to have them come back and be this sort of elder statesman, I mean, that's nice. But like, just invite them to be a presenter. You don't need to do this whole thing, you know? Yeah.
Well, speaking of people that have been in movies together, I don't remember fully what this bit was, but I remember laughing at it. I liked the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito.
Oh, that was another highlight of the night for me.
What was the actual bit? I remember laughing at it, but what did they do?
Well, I mean, it's kind of two separate things because they were in the movie Twins together.
Right.
But also they both
did
played
the
Batman villains.
Yeah,
and then they were threatening Michael Keaton. And Michael Keaton had this amazing reaction shot, which I highly recommend looking up if you've not done so already. It was incredible. So that was another highlight of the night. I almost forgot about that. That was great.
It was great. Yeah.
And that was good banter that is clever and fun and gets you excited about movies and also did not go on for too long.
Well, there was also some improvisation in there that worked. Like, you can tell that Arnold and Danny DeVito like have a relationship, you know, because they were just like kind of playing around, you know. It was great. So I enjoyed that. It was a nice little breakup from everything else that was like very structured. So yeah.
They had some good presenter pairings. I mean, it wasn't my favorite of the night, but the Emily Blunt, Ryan Gosling sort of joshing each other about, you know, oh, Barbie won all of the audiences, but Oppenheimer's winning all of the awards. Like, they're sort of, and they're going to be starring in a movie later this year. Like, that was kind of fun and cute, and it also did not go on for too long. So
yeah, it was kind of cheesy, but it wasn't like, ugh.
Yeah, it was cheesy, but in that sort of like earnest, you know.
Yeah.
We love the movies and we're all here to love the movies together.
Totally.
You know,
yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah. I think, well, I don't know. Do you want to talk about the performances now or do you want to wait until we go through the original song category?
Why don't we start with the craft category, song, score, things like that, and kind of do the performances and director in picture later.
Can we just say off the top, I know that we've mentioned this before. I think we said this last year. We also said it for our nominations episode. I think we're just going to have to like skip over the shorts, the documentaries.
Yes, unfortunately.
Like, I have the utmost highest respect for these categories and these people and the hard work that they put in, all these film crews and everything. We just don't have access to watching these. So congratulations to all of those winners and all of those nominees. But we can't really speak to you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I do really want to see 20 Days in Mariupol. If I'm hoping that comes to, maybe it's on streaming already and I just haven't seen it. But that one in particular, I really, really want to see.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't we start going through some of these winners, and let's see, which one, do you have a particular one that you want to start with?
Not necessarily. I mean, this list that I'm looking at is in a weird order. I'm going to see if I can find another one that has a
I'm
better
wondering
order.
if the list that you're looking at is in the award show order. We could talk about, let's see, we could start with animated film. So The Boy and the Heron won.
I did. Which you
Hayao
have not
Miyazaki.
seen.
Yeah, you've not seen that yet.
No, I've seen it. You haven't.
Oh, you have seen it. Oh, no, I haven't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you said which I have not seen.
Oh,
which
no,
was
I've
really
definitely
surprising to
seen
me.
it.
Okay. Yeah, thoughts on that? I mean, obviously, I know Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is your
Number
top
two
favorite movie of the year.
Yeah.
Were you specifically rooting for Spider-Verse to win over The Boy and the Heron? Were you expecting it to win? What are your thoughts?
Well, I was texting with a friend about it last night because he equally loves Across the Spider-Verse and The Boy and the Heron. I think The Boy and the Heron is his number one film of last year. Going into this ceremony, I had an inkling, I had a hunch that The Boy and the Heron was going to win because obviously Hayao Miyazaki is a legendary filmmaker. We will be in his debt and what he's contributed to the art form for the rest of time. And this really was a huge accomplishment of a film. The animation styles were things that I've never seen from his movies before. So I thought that it would win just because A, it's a fantastic movie, B, it's Hayao Miyazaki, and C, it's almost 100% certainty his last film. So I thought it would win, but I also wouldn't have been shocked if Across the Spider-Verse won. I do think that, Across the Spider-Verse, obviously, it was my number 2 film of the year. So I do like that movie more than The Boy and the Heron. But that being said, the only movie that is deserving of winning above Across the Spider-Verse is The Boy and the Heron because of everything I just said. So I am not upset that Across the Spider-Verse lost. We still have Beyond the Spider-Verse, which, speaking of animated movies, I think I said this in the nominees, like Across the Spider-Verse should have been nominated for Best Picture. I'm sorry, it just should have been. But there will be a time and a place. So yeah, I mean, that's mostly my thoughts on that. I think I'd seen actually quite a few of the movies in the animated category. But I'm not upset with The Boy and the Heron. It's a great film. We love Miyazaki, and it was his love letter to his family, himself, his art, cinema, all of the things. So, yeah.
That's great. I do need to see it. The only Miyazaki film that I've seen is the one that we did on this very podcast.
The one that I made you watch.
Yes, which I did really like, and I do sincerely mean to catch up on more of his films. I'm not an animation person for whatever reason. When I'm trying to fill in gaps in my knowledge, I just usually go to other sort of genres or styles rather than animation. I don't know why that is. No disrespect to animation, but I know it's a huge gap in my knowledge, so I will fill in more of his films at a later point.
There's so many good ones. So many good ones.
So many good ones. Let's see. Do you want to talk about, so Poor Things won makeup and hairstyling.
Way more than I thought it would.
Yeah, it was like a kind of a sweep, especially of craft categories. So it won makeup and hairstyling, it won production design, it won costumes, those three, plus, some additional ones, which we'll talk about.
It won hair and makeup too, I think, right?
Yeah, hair and makeup, production design, and costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the... Did it win any other craft categories that I'm missing?
I don't think so.
Okay. Sorry, these lists.
I know.
I'm
like
the most clearly laid out.
You can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna send you this one. This one is the easiest I've seen.
Okay. Yeah. So let's see. What do you want to?
Oh, can I just say really quick? I know we jumped
please.
over like the shorts and documentaries and stuff, but I'm really, really, really glad that The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar won.
I wanted to ask you about this.
That was actually a great joke that I think it was Jimmy Kimmel who made it. He was like, Wes Anderson's first Oscar is a short film.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's fantastic. But I was really glad that won.
One of I think wasn't it Rami Youssef who presented that award? And he had this quip where he was like, imagine what would happen if he made a long film or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, I love Rami. Great guy.
He's hosting SNL.
Oh, is he really?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a special
later this month, I think.
He's a really, really great guy. Very kind.
Oh, that's so great. Let's see. Okay, so do you want to start with production design?
Sure, we can do production design.
Yeah, so Poor Things won. Full disclosure, Poor Things is the only Best Picture nominee that I did not get to see before the ceremony. I intended to see it, and then I did a puzzle instead.
Yeah, I was thinking last night, I was like, Geneva's probably regretting that she didn't go see that movie already, because it's winning a lot of stuff.
It's on streaming now, and I really meant to see it, and then I did other things. But
yeah. Production design. Yeah, I think I'd mentioned this maybe in our nominations episode, but there were so many things going into the Oscars awards season that I was like, Barbie is going to absolutely hands down win this category. Mm-hmm. And then I saw Poor Things and I was like, oh no, this is really, really hard, because I feel like both of these movies need to be recognized at the highest level, debatably highest level, for what they've done. And so like costumes, production design, I was just like, I mean, I don't know. And so on the one hand, I'm so happy that Poor Things won, but I'm also very sad that Barbie didn't win. So
having not seen Poor Things, I really wish Barbie had won this category, because I think the production design in Barbie is so special and so integral to what makes Barbie Land feel the way that it feels. There's just something really magical about it, and the way that they've done it is so inventive and effective. And I mean, there are not a whole lot of places where Barbie was expected to win and then it only won one category. I really wish it had gotten production design at least, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been mad about it, but like I said, I mean, you haven't seen Poor Things, so
it's true. I feel like too, my perception of Poor Things, which is probably unfair because I haven't seen the movie, but just going off of trailers and clips that I've seen, it just seems very difficult to distinguish the production design from CGI, which is maybe unfair of me.
No, that's not true at all.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's all of it is practically built except for like the skylines in the background.
Okay.
Like they built entire cities. Like it's cities, like city basically.
City. Okay.
But like it's wild. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a tough category for me. I would have been so happy if either of them had won, and also equally sad that it hadn't won.
They couldn't just split it in half.
But yeah, I'm very glad Poor Things won. It deserved it, but so did Barbie. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel similarly to costume design in that what I've seen of Poor Things looks incredible, and I'm so glad it got it. But there's a part of me that just wishes Barbie could have gotten that recognition, because the costume design in Barbie is so good.
That was another one of those things where I was like, nothing will compete with Barbie. This is some of the best costume design. And then I watched Poor Things and I was like, these are some of the best costumes I've ever seen in my entire life. Mm. And so I think they're just very different perspectives. Barbie is like, we're creating this unique world in this sort of like genre that we've created for ourselves that we've never seen before, but like in a weird, I don't know, it's so unique in what it's doing. Whereas Poor Things is like everyone's just wearing avant-garde art and it's like so delicate and elaborate and like I left Poor Things and I literally was thinking that is the best costume design I've ever seen in my entire life. So they're just so different that I almost feel like they shouldn't be in the same category, but they are. And so,
yeah, I mean, this is always the struggle with costume design. And I think so often, you know, understandably so, the recognition for costume design or people saying, oh, this is good costume design comes from it's a period piece. And so therefore it's, you know, good costume design. It looks authentic or everything is very elaborate. But good costume design can mean many things. You know, it can mean characters wearing clothes that are, you know, contemporary, but make a lot of sense for who each character is in the situation that they're in. And, you know, sometimes those things aren't recognized enough. But then, you know, in things like Poor Things, you're basically creating an entire world that has historical references that it's pulling from, but is completely outside of actual history or actual, you know, life. And you just get to go crazy with your imagination. And so, you know, that's also a challenge. And from what I've seen, they pulled it off really, really well.
The costumes are out of this world. Like I've never seen anything like it. It's wow. But both of them are wow, just different, you know? So
yeah. And the makeup and hairstyling as well, I'm assuming.
Well, I will say also before we leave costumes,
sure.
I really, 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 really love the costume design for Killers of the Flower Moon. I remember, because that was I was going to say that was the first one I saw, but no, obviously I saw Barbie first. But after I saw Killers of the Flower Moon, I was like, any other year this would win, but because Barbie exists, it won't. But the costume design in Killers of the Flower Moon is so good. And I'm trying to find her name, but the costume designer, she is a Native
Jacqueline
American.
West.
Yeah, she's a Native American woman who like sourced all of this fabric and all of it's just, it really is so, you can see the love and the care and the just like the history that goes into the costumes that were made there. And so, yeah, I wanted to shout that out too, because I really, really like the costume design in that film.
Agreed. My favorite is the outfit that Lily Gladstone's character wears to her wedding, which is this sort of military inspired jacket, but with, you know, all of these touches and influences from her, you know, from Osage culture, her character's Osage culture. And it's just not anything I had ever seen before. It was so different and striking and just instantly iconic. Yeah, it was incredible.
So good. Yeah. Just wanted to make sure we mentioned that. Yeah,
definitely. Makeup and hairstyling, anything particular you want to shout out?
Poor Things deserve to win. Poor Things should have won. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, but also Society of the Snow. I mean, they had great makeup. The little bit of it that I was able to get through.
Well, it only gets worse for them from where you left off. So,
yeah.
And the makeup is excellent. Is there? What?
I'm glad it was nominated.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's very well done. Yeah.
Hands down, Poor Things for that. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to move on to, let's see. We've got visual effects. Godzilla -1.
Oh,
for visual effects.
I was so happy when I saw that one, because seeing that what it was going up against, I was like, I mean, none of these, like, okay, cool. But I was like, a Japanese film about Godzilla that barely anyone's seen, like, it's probably not going to win. But it did, and I was like, oh my gosh, maybe this means that people will go watch this movie because now they know that it exists and all of that. But yeah, I was very happy that the movie was recognized, period, like in this ceremony at all. But I was very glad that it won.
Yeah.
So,
and another highlight of the night was the team that, you know, the visual effects team going up
They
on
had
stage,
all
and
their
they
little
all had their
Godzillas.
little Godzilla
So cute.
figurines, and all the representatives from the movie, you know, because they're always all sitting together, of course. They all had them, and they were all waving them, and it was just so adorable.
Speaking of the ceremony, we can get into this as we go through each category, I guess.
Yeah.
But there were a few speeches that really stuck out to me last night. And this speech I really loved because I'm looking at the name here. So maybe it's Takashi Yama. Well, that's the director, I think. I don't know. But the man who was giving the speech, he was talking about how he grew up watching movies, you know, Steven Spielberg and all of these people, and how he had this dream of being able to make movies and come to Hollywood and all those things. And he's like, it was just really cute, not really, but like how he was just talking about how much he loves cinema and how much of a dream it is that he made it to this place. And I think he said, you know, basically, don't give up on your dreams. Like, I never would have thought that this was possible, and here I am with my team. We made a Japanese Godzilla film, and we just won an Oscar. And we had a couple people last night give, you know, speeches along those lines. But I thought that his was particularly unique in the sense that he's not from here. Like, he's from another country, and his love of the cinema, like the art form, and just seeing him be able to, like, a lot of Americans don't watch movies from other countries or movies in another language. And so seeing his joy in making a film that has crossed that barrier to reach people. Granted, this is just visual effects, but like just visual effects, you know. It's an important category, but it's not really necessarily the biggest one that people would care about. But I loved his speech, I guess is what I'm saying. He gave a really, really great speech.
Yeah. Was that also the speech where they were shouting out or, you know, memorializing a member of the crew who had died?
Oh.
Am I conflating two speeches?
No, I think it was that one. I think they had like a little picture frame, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Which was very beautiful as well.
Yeah.
There were several speeches that we can shout out throughout the night that were, especially ones where it's a first time nominee who, and you can just tell, you know, all of the love and the emotion, the feeling of, you know, acceptance, the feeling of pride. It was so beautiful and so heartwarming, you know.
I also loved the very like fuck the system mentality last night of just being like you can make whatever, and like who cares about this system? The old way is dying. Like, you know, I loved that vibe, which, you know, we'll get into that more as we talk about other people who won. But I loved that energy. I was here for it.
Yeah. The Oscars are changing, you know, and every year, I mean, it's incremental. It's way too late, and it's, you know, always could be more, but there are changes that are being made. There are more and more new voices, diverse voices that are coming to the forefront, that are winning these awards, that are being able to attain some level of power and get their passion projects made in this industry. And it's really exciting, you know. I mean, it always could be more, but it's there, it's coming, and it's very exciting to be living through this era of cinema.
Yeah, and that made me think of, I don't remember what the specific joke was, but there was one moment in the night when they made someone on stage, I don't know if it was a presenter or something, but they made a joke about Steven Spielberg, and they kept cutting back to him, and he was just like nodding and going along with the joke. I don't remember which one it was.
Was that the America Ferrera and Kate McKinnon? Because they were talking about like documentaries, and then Kate McKinnon starts listing off Jurassic World, Jurassic World Dominion, and they're like, no, those aren't real. And she's like, what? Dr. Spielberg?
Yeah, that was great. He was such a good really sport. Funny. I love Steven
One
Spielberg.
thing about Steven Spielberg, he's going to crush a cameo, you know? I just love that. Him and Martin Scorsese. Mm-hmm.
David Lynch, too. Well, maybe not at an award ceremony, but I was thinking
not
David
at an
Lynch,
award
like,
ceremony. Yeah. Them, Martin Scorsese, like that whole generation of filmmakers. They're just, you know, they're personalities as much as they are filmmakers, and we love it.
Yeah, they're I feel like they're just coasting at this point. Not in a bad way, but they're just like, you know, I'm just here to have fun.
They're enjoying their laurels, you know. They're enjoying their elder statesman
And then you have Robert De Niro, where they try and make a joke about him at some point. He's just sitting there like
he just looks so. Every time they cut to him, he looks so unimpressed. It was like there was someone on stage who was like a coworker of his who I forget who it was. Maybe it was when Al Pacino was coming out. I don't even know. But they cut to Robert De Niro at some point. And you'd expect him to be like, yes, no.
Would we expect that though? He's Robert De Niro.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. So the next one I've got is Best Sound, which was rightfully, and I am so thrilled, won by Zone of Interest. Absolutely,
I don't think anyone would fight
choice.
that. I don't think anyone would fight that.
Yeah, the absolute correct choice.
It's some of the best sound, like editing, design, whatever you call it, of all time. It's
well, and especially considering this is a movie that is literally built around the sound. You know, that is the point of the movie. Is
not even sound, but like the lack of sound. The
sound and the lack of visuals to accompany it. You're hearing things, faint things off in the distance, and your brain is working to put together what it is, and you have no visuals to accompany it. And so your mind is always working at two levels, where you're seeing this sort of banal, people going about their day-to-day lives, and then at the back of your mind, you're constantly trying to put together what these sounds mean, and you're just engaged and horrified the entire way through, and it's because the sound work is so excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting. I think you and I might see this in a different way, but I feel like the Zone of Interest has the best sound because it doesn't have sound. Like, there is no film score except for a few moments. Like, you don't even really have a lot of talking. You don't have yelling. You don't have, it's just like, it's silent. The movie, even though there are sounds in it, it's so silent, which makes the little bits of sound that you do have absolutely, like, it sounds like a building is collapsing, and it's like something happening in the distance, and it's really quiet. And so I love how the lack of sound in that movie is what makes it have some of the best sound I've ever heard, seen in a film. It's a masterpiece when it comes to sound.
The restraint and the subtlety of it. Yeah,
absolute masterpiece.
It's masterful.
I will never watch that movie again, but I'm very glad that I did, because it's, wow, what an impactful piece of art.
Yeah, agreed. On a similar note, Best Original Score, was, in my opinion, I am so happy that Ludwig Göransson won for Oppenheimer, which is one of my favorite scores of the last 10, 15, 20 years. I don't know. I listen to it so often. It makes me feel so many emotions. I don't think I said this when we talked about our Oscar nominations, but the scene, the score track, I believe, is called Can You Hear the Music? And it's the scene early on in the film where Oppenheimer is going off to Europe, and he's studying, and he's going to all these museums, and he's reading late at night and all these things. And that scene is just the best encapsulation that I have ever seen of what it feels to me to be in school and learning things and making all of these connections. And it's one of the most invigorating and exciting and stimulating things in my life. And I get so excited to see it, because it's just like, oh, this is everything that I love. And the score that backs it up is so perfect and so beautiful. And the way it's just, it's just rising and rising and rising, and then things are coming in, kind of bringing you down, and then it's a little ominous at one moment, and then it's exciting at another moment, and it's just, I'm sorry, I have to nerd out. I love it so freaking much. It's such a beautiful score. There's so much variety to it. It's so perfectly accompanies all these different moments and scenes in this film. I mean, I love the film. The score is like a good 40% of what I love about this film. I think it's such an excellent score, which is not to say that the other scores in this list are not excellent too, because they are, especially Killers of the Flower Moon, which I also listen to all the time. That's an amazing score. But I'm just so happy that Oppenheimer won, because, I'm sorry, I love that score.
This is one of two categories for Oppenheimer where I wanted it to win. I do think it deserved Best Original Score. I agree with you. Killers of the Flower Moon has a very strong and powerful score. I also like the score for Poor Things. But yeah, Oppenheimer deserved to win this one. That's basically the only thing I like about the movie, other than Cillian Murphy's performance, which we'll get to. But I'm
Ludwig
happy that
Göransson
this
is
one.
just so incredibly talented. He's already done so much, and I'm so excited to see what he's going to do in the future.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
All right. Yes. All right. So let's see. How about so film editing is next. Jennifer Lame won for Oppenheimer, which apparently her name is pronounced Jennifer Lame and not Jennifer LaMay, which is how I've been pronouncing it in my mind. Lame. I'm slightly obsessed with her now. She kind of looks and sounds like Jennifer Garner to me.
Was she the one in the green dress?
Yes, with the big bow on the front. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked her speech.
Yeah, she was great. I love how she started by fangirling about Emma Thomas, and then she's like, Chris Nolan, you're fine too.
Yeah.
Like, yes,
also,
girl.
shout out to women editors, because there aren't many of them. Like, in the mainstream,
Yeah.
whatever.
And she's so, like, relatively young, and yet her filmography is really incredible, the things that she's worked on. So yeah, shout out to her. Obviously editing is a huge part of this film because there's multiple storylines and timelines that are and there are different cinematography styles. It's black and white, it's in color, different things going on, and she's manages to balance all of that in a really good way. Honestly, all of the films, I'm assuming Poor Things has excellent editing, but Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, they all have really excellent editing that is just seamless and works so well with the story that each one is telling. So I'm really happy that Jennifer Lame won, but I also would have been happy if any of the others had won, honestly.
Yeah, I wanted Anatomy of a Fall to win this one. That movie has really, really grown on me as time has gone on. I need to move it up on my rankings list because I think it's probably in my top 5. I really, really love that movie. I also simultaneously think that the editing of Oppenheimer is one of the weakest aspects of that film. I think the editing and the screenplay, which are huge parts of any film, are the weakest parts of that movie, which is why I don't like it. So I was not particularly happy that it won, but I guess it's predictable. So there you go. But I do think that, if it hadn't been Oppenheimer, out of the ones that remain, Anatomy of a Fall would have been my choice. But all of them have do a really great job.
Yeah. Yeah. We should have talked about this alongside sound and score, but Best Original Song.
We all knew What Was I Made For was going to win, right?
We all knew that it was going to be the Barbie song and not the I'm Just Ken Barbie song. The other Barbie song.
Yeah, the other Barbie song.
And I'm not too mad about it. It is a good song. Billie Eilish's performance she has just one of the most stunning and ethereal voices.
She's going to go down in history.
Yeah, she's an incredible talent. It makes me so depressed to remember how old she is. How young she is,
her and Phineas both. They're so young.
So incredibly young and so incredibly talented. And this is her second Oscar, I believe. This is not her first Oscar.
Nope.
It's her second.
Yep.
So, yeah.
She also won the Grammy for this song. Yep.
Hey, if she wants to go off and win a Tony and an Emmy, I feel like she probably will.
She could win. She can act. So I could see her winning a Tony at some point.
She could write music for a play too, though, for a musical
true.
as well.
Her and Phineas both coming for the EGOTs.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm not upset that What Was I Made For won. I genuinely like that song. I think it's a very good song. I think it's hilarious that I'm Just Ken was nominated. That makes me so happy.
Yeah. The performance of I'm Just Ken was probably the peak moment of the entire Oscars telecast. It was so good and so much fun.
It's going to be one of the peak moments of every single Oscar ceremony ever, I think. It was so much fun. And the fact that it started with him sitting in this chair and you see Billie Eilish like sitting right behind him, not really knowing how to react, and then you pull forward.
He's like
and
singing to Margot Robbie, and she's trying
like
not
cry
to laugh.
laughing. It was so great. And then you have the moment where he's walking up to the stage and he interacts with Emma Stone, who obviously is like his on-screen wife multiple times.
Yeah.
I thought it was so much fun.
Every single time anyone connected to Barbie was on stage and they would cut to Greta Gerwig, and she's just like,
oh my gosh,
she looks like a proud mother. She's just
Yes.
so happy and thrilled for all of them. It was so sweet, so heartwarming.
Amazing.
It was wonderful. The Gentlemen Prefer Blondes tribute, where he's in the pink outfit with the pink curtain in the back and all the men and the suits and everything, was just great.
So great.
Oh,
yeah.
It was so good.
It was the highlight of the night. But also, I was very profoundly impacted by the I'm not even going to try to say it because I don't speak the language, but A Song for My People from Killers of the Flower Moon. I think we already talked about this, but like the score for Killers of the Flower Moon is so strong, and I think that this song just really represents kind of what the sonic experience was of this movie, watching it, and it really represents what the heart of this film is, which, you know, some people have debated this, and that's fine, but I do really feel like this movie, the heart of it is the Osage people and their culture. And I think that this song just really represented it well. It was very powerful to see that happen on an American stage in like a ceremony that historically has been very white, very American, very English speaking. So yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I agreed.
I don't remember do you remember where that plays in the movie?
I believe it's the very last shot, because it ends with a sort of dance circle, and the camera is moving up on the circle as it sort of grows and grows and grows. And I think that that's the song that they're singing.
I think you're right.
Which I meant to look up the lyrics for that song to see what it's, you know, specifically about, and I forgot, but I would like to know.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Can I just say that the fire inside from Flamin' Hot, the Cheetos movie, the entire time that was happening, me and everyone at my watch party was like, wait, what is this movie? Is this a joke? This is a comedy, right? Wait, is this serious? Like, we could not figure out what the vibe was.
Well, one of my coworkers told me about this movie a few like months back or whatever, and they were telling me about it, and I was like, so that movie's a joke, right? And he was like, no, like it's a real movie. And then when this was nominated for Best Original Song, I saw him at work the next day and was like, well, I guess you're right, it's a real movie because its song just got nominated. The performance was weird though. Like, I was watching it and I was like, you know, people can wear whatever they want. I don't that's great. But it was very strange that like she was wearing this outfit surrounded by children that are like completely covered. It just was a weird.
It was a weird vibe.
I was like, what is the vibe of this? I don't understand.
Just when they bring out the children's choir, I was like, is this supposed to be camp? I cannot tell.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's brilliant. I don't know, but.
I was not. I was not particularly impressed, but that's okay. You know, those children probably had a lot of fun. Good for them.
Yeah. What did you think of "It Never Went Away"? The John Baptiste song. What is American Symphony? I have not actually. Heard of that.
It's
is
his
it a documentary.
Yeah, it's like his documentary. It was like about him and his wife. I have not seen that movie. I'm not the biggest John Baptiste fan, so. That's all I'll say. I don't think it was bad, but I'm just not really a fan of his. Sure. So I was like, oh yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
it didn't really stand out to me at all. It seemed nice, but I didn't really. I was a little distracted by I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of made it hard to think about anything else.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we talk about, let's see. Let's talk about international feature film.
Yeah.
So the winner, very well deserved. she says, having only seen 2 out of the 5.
I've
nominees.
seen 4 of the 5.
Yeah, because you've not seen The Teacher's Lounge, right? But you've seen
No,
all
I
the others?
have. I've seen Teacher's Lounge. I've not seen Io Capitano.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so The Zone of Interest was the winner. Very well deserved, I think. That movie, I really... The release strategy really frustrated me because I had to wait so long to see it. But I kind of wonder now if that was actually a really smart decision, because I feel like this movie has gotten a lot more interest and traction than a film of that sort of level, you know, a quiet, devastating indie drama, you know, A24 drama might have gotten otherwise. And
that's in German. Like, it's not in English.
Yep. Which I'm very happy by, because I think everyone needs to see this film. So I'm really happy that it won. But yeah, having seen more of the films than I have, did you have any thoughts on, are there any others that you think, you know, could also have been a strong contender?
No. Zone of Interest, it takes the cake. I mean, Teacher's Lounge is fine. Perfect Days, I did like it. But it wasn't particularly like, oh, this is amazing. Like, it was very sweet. It was very pleasant. I'm glad I saw it, but it wasn't like a, you know, I'm in awe of what's going on. Society of the Snow is the only one where, again, I could not get past the first like 18 minutes. But even within those 18 minutes, I was like,
18? I didn't realize that you were only 18 minutes. That's a long movie too.
I know. I couldn't do it. But maybe it was 28. It was something with an 8. Okay. But I know it wasn't 38.
28 I feel like makes a little more sense for where you were when you called me.
Yeah, it was
like,
18
I can't
or 28.
go on.
No. But like, even within that short period of time, I was like, these visual effects, this acting, this directing, like these locations, this hair and makeup, just within that little bit, I was like, everything in me wants to keep watching this movie, because it just looks like a fantastically made, you know, completed film. But I'll throw up if I keep watching it. So I didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, of those 4, I feel like Society of the Snow is the only one that really felt like some sort of competition, even though I didn't see the whole thing. But Zone of Interest, like, nothing's going to compete with that, I feel like, in this category this year.
Yeah. I really loved Society of the Snow. It's a movie that I think I'll probably watch again at some point.
What?
But
how?
I'm one of those people that there's a part
possible?
of my brain is fascinated by, you know, survival stories.
By torture and slow, like, painful deaths of children?
Morbid. Which, side notes, completely unrelated to the movie, but if anyone out there is interested in learning more about the true story of the plane crash in the Andes, the podcast You're Wrong About has a really good recent episode. Actually, I think it's one episode. Yeah, I think it's one episode, as opposed to a multi-episode series, but really, really good episode about kind of the story of what happened and just kind of recounting basically what we see in the film Society of the Snow. But the story, they tell the story very well, and it was very moving. And so that's why I was actually interested in Society of the Snow, because I'd listened to this podcast episode. I was like, oh, that's a really fascinating story of, you know, survival and human connection and endurance. And
well, maybe I'll listen to that, because I can probably handle it easier if I'm not watching it.
The host is joined by, it's basically a friend of the host telling the story to her, and the friend is a really outdoorsy woman who has done a lot of sort of survival like expeditions and adventurous sort of sports type, I don't know what the term is, but she's done a lot of, like, you know, camping and hiking and extreme situations, and so she can speak with a lot of experience about, like, here's what they were experiencing, here's what the cold does to your body, here's what your body does in these specific situations, and it's really fascinating. So I recommend that. You're Wrong About the podcast.
Okay, cool.
All right. Anyway, yes, so Best International Film. And let's see. Let's talk about...
Cinematography?
Cinematography, yes. So Oppenheimer won.
Have you ever heard of El Conde?
I have literally never heard
I
of
had never even heard... I was like, I'm pretty sure I had looked at the nominations the nominees for this ceremony, but apparently I completely forgot about this movie because I have no idea what it is.
I just Googled it right now, and I can see that the Wikipedia page is colored because it has been clicked on. So I probably, when the nominations came out, clicked on it, looked at it, and was like, huh, interesting, and then immediately forgot about its existence. Yeah. It is a 2023 Chilean black comedy horror film. Satire that portrays Chilean director Pinochet as a 250-year-old vampire seeking death. Honestly, kind of sounds cool. I wanted to watch it.
I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch it.
I think I added it to my watch list and screenshotted it onto my phone, but I just forgot. So I need to watch that, though.
Apologies to El Conde. Yeah, I was not familiar with your game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, cannot judge the cinematography of that film. But
you can judge the cinematography of Maestro, which I
have seen Maestro, and I was not impressed with the cinematography. Okay. I am so sorry, Bradley Cooper and Matthew Libatique. I mean, it wasn't terrible or anything like that. It was just, well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there are some really cool images at certain points in that film. Like, there are certain shots that are constructed where I'm like, the framing of this is really interesting. The blocking, the placement, the colors that he's managing to get, that really evoke those sort of like photographs from the 60s and 70s where they're kind of very bright colors, but also sort of faded a little bit. So yeah, it's not bad cinematography at all. I'm so lukewarm on the movie as a whole. It kind of colors my view of the cinematography. Yeah. Killers of the Flower Moon has excellent cinematography. I would have been very happy if that had won. Poor Things I've not seen, but from what I have seen of it, it looks like beautiful cinematography. I'm assuming that is the case, since you've seen.
Oh, sorry. Did you want me to say something? Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I was just prompting you to affirm. I'm assuming Poor Things has excellent cinematography.
Yes, it does. That was what I wanted to win this category, even though I knew it wouldn't, but I think that Poor Things deserved to win this category. It has incredible cinematography.
Yeah.
I will say I'm not a fan of Oppenheimer. But I do think it has good cinematography. Like, I will give it that. It's well shot. The lenses that they use, the close-ups, the lighting. I think that, it is very well shot. So I'm not upset that it won Best Cinematography, but I do think that Poor Things cinematography was better.
Yeah. I also really enjoyed Hoyt van Hoytema's speech where he was just basically like, have you guys heard about this cool little newfangled invention? It's called celluloid. Yep. It was very charming.
I loved that. It was great.
It was great. And his like little sneakers. Anyway.
Yeah, he was having a good time up there.
Yeah. Good for him. I always love those, like, when someone wins and it's just someone who's been in the industry for decades and they've just seen it all and like they care, but they also don't care that much.
Don't care.
And they're just like, yeah, you're awarding me because I'm great and I deserve this.
Awesome.
Like, that's their attitude, and like deserved. Like, I love it.
But like he's not a jerk about it. He's just like, yeah, of course.
You're just like so matter of fact. Yeah. And like, let me use this moment to like, advocate for something that's going out of style. And I loved it. I loved it so much.
Yeah.
All right. Should we talk about screenplay?
Yeah. I loved the joke that they made of just like, so what's happening with the screenplays this year? Like, what is adapted versus what's not adapted? We don't understand what's going on. So, yeah, because I feel like May, December should be adapted and Barbie should be original, but like, I don't know.
Yeah. I like Maestro. I keep forgetting that that's not adapted from some sort of biography. Like,
I mean, yeah.
Anyway. So American Fiction won for adapted, which was a big surprise. I don't know if anyone was predicting that to win, honestly. I don't know what were you seeing as like what people were predicting to win? Because I feel like Zone of Interest.
What people were predicting? I mean, I just felt like Oppenheimer was winning everything.
Oppenheimer,
so,
yeah, I guess so.
I'm glad that Barbie didn't win though, because I was like, if that speech makes it win, like, please no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I was surprised that American Fiction won, mostly because I hadn't seen it. And I also didn't think that many people had seen it either. But I feel like based off of the speech that Cord Jefferson gave, which was the best speech of the night, like,
I was gonna say, does the speech make you want to go and see it?
The Academy was like trying to prove a point of Cord kind of being like, you guys have shut me out and you've shut out all these people and they have original ideas and you won't give them credit and you won't acknowledge them and blah. And they were like, really? Watch us.
All right. Well,
I think they were trying to be politically correct. And quite honestly, I think that's why American Fiction won, because it's the politically correct choice. But hey, if that gets people to watch the movie, then I'm here for it. Also, like, Cord Jefferson, first time, like, what?
Yeah.
Good for you.
I recommend his episode of the Team Deacons podcast. It's really interesting because he was a journalist for many years.
When was that episode?
I don't know, like a month or two or so back.
Oh, wow. I must have missed it.
Yeah, it was really interesting. He was a journalist for many years, just, covering kind of news and culture, and kind of fell into writing for TV almost by accident. Like, kind of someone was just like, hey, I think you'd be great for this. And then he kind of fell into it. And he wrote for some really incredible, like he wrote for Watchmen, I think. I forget what else. But then he found this novel and it really spoke to him. And so adapting it became his passion project. But just listening to him kind of explain like where he's coming from and what he saw in the novel and what he made him want to adapt it was just really interesting. So
yeah, I felt like he was a man after my own heart during his speech, because the fact that he was like, if studios can afford to make one film that's $400 million, imagine how many other small original idea films they could make with the same amount of money, and give these people opportunities. There's good stuff out there. Look, I've made it. Like, there's dozens and hundreds of other people that have just as much talent and just as drive, and and I was like, yes, preach, take me to church, like, yes, I'm so here for it. And then when he ended and he was like, thank you for supporting like a young black man who's his first time, blah blah blah, and I was like, if I didn't love you before, I really love you now. Like, his speech was like, he was just speaking my language.
It was a great,
it was so
a great
good
speech. And it's like, he also, in that episode, the Team Deacons episode, he talks about some of that, not quite as like sort of succinct and sustained ways he did in his Oscars speech, but he definitely covers some of those ideas. So of the things on this list, I probably would have gone for either Oppenheimer or The Zone of Interest. I've not read the book, the autobiography of the commandant that Zone of Interest is adapted from, so I can't compare, but I have read the Oppenheimer biography, and I think that's a really incredible work of adaptation. Poor Things, obviously I have not seen. Barbie was really the only one that I was kind of actively rooting against, because I like Barbie, but the script is easily the weakest thing for me about that film. So
yeah. I feel that way about Barbie and Oppenheimer. Like, Oppenheimer, its script is the weakest part of that film, and I think that's really, really what brings it down for me. It had so much potential, but the writing just didn't do a good job, and because of that, I think it should be shamed. It's like, it's just like, the writing is what this movie could have been so good, and it's the writing that destroyed it. So don't nominate it, because that's what, but obviously I'm wrong, because everyone else is right. But watch, 10 years, everyone's going to agree with me.
I mean, who knows? But we'll check in 10 years from now.
I would have been fine with, this is such a strange category this year. 'Cause like, none of them really, none of these are like an Aaron Sorkin, where it's like, wow, that was incredible. Right. It like, none of them really have I feel like that impact.
Yeah.
But
I feel like the ones where it's like, the script specifically is really wowing me are more in the original category this year.
Exactly. Yeah. So adapted was kind of funky this year.
Yeah. For original, Anatomy of a Fall won.
Absolutely deserved it.
Yeah, well deserved. But honestly, apart from Maestro, I think all the other contenders are
Very
really,
strong.
really strong, and I would have been happy with any of them
Yeah.
winning. May
The
December.
Holdovers was great.
Holdovers
May
I
December,
loved. Past Lives was so good. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, Anatomy of a Fall, in my opinion, is like the obvious clear winner here.
Yeah.
But behind Anatomy of a Fall, I agree with you. Like those three, all three of them are great. I haven't seen Maestro, so I guess I can't technically speak to it, but like,
I weirdly really want you to see Maestro just because I want to hear your thoughts. And I don't think you're going to like it, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I have so many other things to watch. Isn't it
I
so
know.
long? I'm like, I don't really want to hate watch a mildly intriguing.
And the thing is, like, it's one of those movies where it's like, it's not a bad movie. It just doesn't really work. But because it gets nominated for all these things, I feel like I'm in the position where I keep hating on it because it's the weakest in every category, even though I would not say in and of itself, in a vacuum, it's a bad movie. It has a lot of good, like, there's a lot of good craftsmanship there. There's a lot of passion. It just does not work.
I just automatically am predisposed. Like, I always just have negative feelings about Oscar bait movies, whether they're good or not. If they're Oscar bait, I'm just like, I'm automatically not into it. And Maestro is like the most Oscar baity of Oscar bait movies we've had in a while.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, and this is like the weird thing about it, it's less Oscar baity, in my opinion. When you actually watch it, it's less Oscar baity and more weird than you would expect.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
There's some really... Bradley Cooper was like, he was making choices. He was making stylistic swings. There are weird moments. I mean, like, they had that moment. They, for some reason, decided to clip, maybe it was for the screenplay clip, where he, like, he has that weird thing where he's like, I slept with both your parents. I'm crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, like, so strange.
Well, they did play that clip, and I was like, what is this movie?
What
Like,
is
I don't
this?
understand.
I mean, there's musical numbers in the middle of it. There's, like, people having a serious conversation and giant Snoopy balloon floats outside the window. There's just, like, weird things about it. But again, it just does not work, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's taken big swings. You know, he's not playing it safe. I just wish he had chosen a story where he actually knew what story he was trying to tell.
Shots fired.
Yep. All right. So why don't we move on to supporting actor and supporting actress?
Sure.
Let's
One of
see.
these categories was way more competitive than the other one, is all I will say.
Oh, is supporting actor is the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supporting actress, I feel like everyone
kinda knew- I mean,
Divine Joy, like,
Did she
the only
lose any
competition-
precursor? Yeah.
The only competition for her was Danielle Brooks, but Danielle Brooks has already won the Tony, so at least I'm pretty sure she won the Tony. And Divine Joy, I mean, her performance is transcendent. It was so good.
Yeah. I don't think there was any doubt about whether or not she would win.
And her
I
speech
thought
was so sweet.
yes,
it was
so
sweet,
beautiful. And it was the first category, I think, of the entire night, and it was also the one where I think the 5 previous winners worked the best, because it really did seem like they had put a lot of thought into getting people who had connections with each of the nominees, and there was a lot of personalness. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but it really felt very special in a way that all of the others to me did not feel
Jamie
special.
Lee's and Jodie Foster's was cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like I can see them having been friends because they've been in the industry for ages. They probably worked together at some point. I don't even know. Maybe there's something huge I'm missing, but yeah. Who was it that gave the that spoke to Davine Joy Randolph? I'm blanking now.
Was it Lupita Nyong'o? No. Yes?
Maybe.
I don't remember.
Whoever it was.
It might have been Lupita Nyong'o, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, she was the clear winner, so that's kind of all I have to say about that.
Yeah, her dress was beautiful as well.
Oh,
she looked. Yeah. I mean, her stylist is incredible. She has looked like $1 million bazillion bucks this entire campaign.
Her whole thing
gorgeous.
about her publicist was amazing.
That was so cute.
And I don't remember who won the award after her, but they were like, well, I don't have a publicist to thank, but
I think it was Robert Downey Jr., wasn't he? That was or
it?
no.
No.
Oh
It
no,
was like-
well Robert Downey Jr. also brought it back, but there was another person that mentioned that. Yeah, that's right.
But
yeah.
I loved that. That was so cute.
That was so cute.
Yeah.
Let's see. Robert Downey Jr. also not a huge surprise, although, there were some thoughts that maybe Ryan Gosling could take it, maybe Mark Ruffalo could take it, but I think it was pretty not surprising at all. His speech, I really enjoyed his speech. He's such a charming man, like all of the speeches that he's been giving this entire campaign have just been so, he's just so happy to be here. He's so charming. He's been around forever. He's weathered the ups and downs. He knows everyone. He knows how to be funny. He knows how to be sincere. Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, I would have been happy if Ryan Gosling had taken it. I would have been happy. I would have been happy with any of these other winners. But yeah, I'm happy for Robert Downey Jr. kind of getting his, the incredible arc of his career, which has had so many different stages. For him to get that recognition, I think is really special, and you can tell that it meant a lot to him. So yeah
This is probably my angriest win of the entire ceremony. I'm very mad that he was even nominated. I think he took the spot of someone who should have won the award, Charles Melton. I think that Robert Downey Jr.'s character, I don't remember what his name is,
Strauss.
In Oppenheimer is, I'm not going to rip into Oppenheimer anymore, but I can't stand his whole character and his whole participation in this story. It could have been told so much better in terms of the writing and how it interacted with everything else. But I think that Robert Downey Jr. is a great actor, and I think that he deserves to win an Oscar at some point, but this is not an outstanding performance to me. I think it's Robert Downey Jr. just giving a good performance, but it is not better than, like, it's not. It doesn't blow me out of the water. I think in this category this year, when we had Ryan Gosling and Mark Ruffalo and Charles Melton, all three of them absolutely phenomenal performances, all three of them so good, and Robert Downey Jr. is just being fine. It makes me quite angry, but it's whatever. There's nothing I can do about it. But yeah, it kind of makes me think of Leonardo DiCaprio, what he won his Oscar for. It was like, oh, well, it's just been a long time, so let's give him an Oscar. And it's like, I mean, he deserves an Oscar, but not for this movie. And I feel like it was very much so that for Robert Downey Jr. as well, of like, oh, well, look at his career. Everyone kept talking about his career and what he's been through and how he's at this place. I'm like, yes, that's relevant, but also not really, when there's all of these other people that gave better performances. And he also has 40 more years to win an Oscar, So I was not happy with this, but at the same time, I knew it was going to happen because he's won everything for reasons that I don't understand. But yeah, I can't let it go because there were so many other performances in this category this year that were, I mean, the hearts and souls of the movies. Like, if Mark Ruffalo had not given the performance that he'd given, if Ryan Gosling had not given that performance, if Charles Melton had not given that performance, those movies would have completely fallen apart. Whereas Oppenheimer, it's like, cool, you're here and you're saying words. Awesome. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, like that film would not have fallen apart without, like, not that that's, I guess, the definition of what makes a performance good, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we disagree with this, and that's totally
Do you think
fine.
that
I think
he deserved to win this, like, genuinely? Do you think
I
he
think-
gave the best performance out of all these people?
I'm not going to say he gave the best performance out of all these people, but these are such different roles and they play different functions within the story. I think Robert Downey Jr. is really, really good in Oppenheimer. Okay. And his character is essential to the story. His sort of like, the two faces of sort of American political culture of the mid-century period, and so essential to the themes of that movie of how, good intentions and hubris and just these, absolutely mammoth decisions and innovations get wrapped up in petty insecurity and jealousy and grudges and things that are so stupid and human. And I think he plays that simmering resentment and the kind of the final bursting out of being like, here's who I've been all along. Here's the type of petty small man that I am, who has, created this grudge out of nothing and is going to, make all of these decisions and ruin someone's life because of how I feel, not minding the fact that it has all these implications is really fascinating. But then on the other hand, he is right in so many ways. Like, he perfectly calls out Oppenheimer for who he is and Oppenheimer's own flaws. And so there's this kind of fascinating layered aspect to it. And I think Robert Downey Jr. just does a really good job of kind of playing this sort of charming outside shell where you can see why he got to where he is, but also the petty, small, vain, insecure person underneath. I don't know. I think he does a really good job. And it's such a different performance from the one that we've seen him give for the last 10 years in the Marvel movies, which is he's always good in those movies, but obviously it's the same character that he's been playing for so long, and it's such a different character.
Well, I feel like that's also true for Ryan Gosling and Mark Ruffalo. Like, Mark Ruffalo has never given a performance like this before, ever. Like, it's so out of his wheelhouse, and the way that he tackled it was so incredible. And then Ryan Gosling, he's done comedies in the past, but he's a lot more of like a pensive, mopey, brooding sort of guy.
I always like him better when he's doing comedies.
Yes, but like, he committed to this role, and like,
I'm not arguing that Robert Downey Jr. necessarily deserved to win over these two. I'm just giving the case for why I think he deserves to be here. Yeah. And why I'm not mad that he won.
Yeah. Okay. Valid. Yeah. I disagree, but definitely valid.
Yeah. 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 I won't say who I would have kicked out of this category to make way for Charles Melton, but Charles Melton definitely should have been there. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree.
He should have won. I would not have
been mad if he had won. Yeah.
He should have won. Yeah. I think we all know. It's fine. No respect to Bob. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah.
All right. Best actress and best actor.
What a shock.
Yes. This was kind of the only surprise of the night, I think. Apart from, I guess, American Fiction winning adapted screenplay.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
The only really significant surprise is Emma Stone winning Best Actress over Lily Gladstone. Emma Stone, her face, like, she could not have looked more flabbergasted. I thought she was going to
cry. Like, she was so upset that she won.
She did not look very...
No.
I mean, it must be really hard to be like, I really don't want to win, because it would be... I already have an Oscar, and there's this incredible performance given by someone who also has an incredible narrative, and this would be an incredible, opportunity for her to win. And then you win, and you're like, oh, okay. I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Her speech was very charming. I enjoyed it. But yeah, man, I really, really wish Lily Gladstone had won. But that's not, I think everyone agrees. Yeah.
This was another really competitive category for me in the sense that I think Emma Stone, Sandra Hüller, and Lily Gladstone all gave great performances. My personal opinion, Sandra Hüller should have won this. I think she gave the best performance, or the best, leading actress performance of the year from what I've seen. I was very, very blown away by her in that role. But also Emma Stone did an absolutely, what a great job. What a great performance.
Yeah. From what I've seen, her performance is very physical, which I think is an aspect of it that's sometimes overlooked, but is very difficult and very impressive.
Yeah, it's very physical, but also seeing how her character evolves from this child to being this, woman with agency, and how she grows so quickly. And it's a very, if anyone else had done this, it would have been a joke. But Emma Stone gave it heart and soul and authenticity, and it really, really was incredible. I think that, this year, if it had been Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller, Emma Stone, Margot Robbie, it would have been like, what is happening?
Oh, I would have been so happy if Margot Robbie had been nominated. I really, really think she deserved to be.
Yeah, Lily Gladstone, I really, really liked her performance a lot. I thought she did a great job. Unfortunately, I think the script maybe did not serve her well enough to maybe be deserving of this award, in the sense that like they didn't, the little moments that she had, she was but I'm like, you should have given her more to work with, because she would have risen to the occasion. She would have broken through the ceiling.
It is such an internal performance, and the focus of the narrative is on her husband, on the Leonardo DiCaprio character, and she's kind of reacting to the things that he's doing. So, yeah, I can understand, like, it's not the sort of leading, what qualifies for a leading performance that we're typically used to.
Yeah, it's like, I know that if they'd given her more, and I don't mean more in terms of like she should have been louder and more, I don't mean that. I just mean that there was a lot of the movie where she was in a coma on a bed, you know, and it's like we could have given her a little bit more. And I love the representation. I mean, I don't want to make her like a token, like a diversity token or whatever, but you know, just the what a powerful narrative that she has, and the voice that she's been given through this awards season, and how she's been advocating for her own projects and the people in the community and their language. It's just really great. So, I mean, it was a very strong leading actress year. Margot Robbie should have been here. I mean,
Lily Gladstone has already won in my heart for certain women, so we just need to find a time to give her the actual women statue.
So good. But yeah, Sandra Hüller would have been my pick, but I also would not have been upset with Emma Stone or Lily Gladstone. So
yeah, I'm assuming that you did not see Nyad. Did anyone see Nyad?
I do like Annette Bening, but yeah. Also, Carey Mulligan. She's becoming the new Leonardo DiCaprio. She's been nominated so many times and never won.
Carey Mulligan, I feel like I love her, but I feel like to me she works best in certain roles, and she's not necessarily always given those roles. And then I'll see her in certain roles, and I'm like, this is not a good use of your skills.
Yeah, I do like her when it works.
I mean, she's very good in Maestro.
Haven't seen it. Yeah.
Best actor in a leading role.
I mean, very predictable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was pretty much everyone had a good inkling that Cillian Murphy was going to win. Paul Giamatti could have, there could have been an upset, and I would not have been unhappy with that.
To win.
I love Paul Giamatti.
I wanted him to win so bad. I'm not upset that Cillian Murphy won. His performance was undebatably fantastic. But Paul Giamatti's was also so good. And I wanted him to win.
That part where Nicolas Cage, which again, what are the connections that they are building between these people?
They specifically chose Nicolas Cage because they wanted him to make that joke. That's why they chose him.
Where he talks about like Paul Giamatti was so committed he wore a contact lens that made him partially blind through the entire shoot. I mean, I would have done that too, but and then Paul Giamatti gives the most adorable grin, and it was so wonderful.
Oh, can we just talk about Paul Giamatti and how he helped Divine Joy Randolph walk up onto the stage?
I didn't even catch that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, when she won, he grabbed her hand and helped her walk up the stage. Then she got up there and I
love that.
He went back to his seat.
That makes me so happy.
Also, I'm sure everyone knows this, but if you haven't seen the picture of Paul Giamatti eating at In-N-Out after winning his Golden Globe, go look it up.
Apparently, Paul Giamatti wore In-N-Out cufflinks to the Oscars as a tribute to that, which I love.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So good.
Anyone out there who's not seen Sideways, FYI, which I think includes you, right? You've still not seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go see Sideways. He should have won the Oscar for that. Like, he should already be a multi-time nominee.
Go watch Cinderella Man. Also great performance.
Let's see. Bradley Cooper in Maestro. He's committed. He's doing his thing. He's not bad, but
he did the thing.
He did the thing. Angela Bassett did the thing.
He did the thing.
Coleman Domingo in Rustin. I've not seen Rustin.
It's
Coleman
on my
Domingo's
watch
a great
list.
actor. He was great in Color Purple. I'm assuming he's great in Rustin as well. Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction is wonderful. Love Jeffrey Wright. But yeah, I'm really, really glad that Cillian Murphy won. He's an actor I love. He gives an incredible performance in Oppenheimer, and yeah, I'm just so happy that he's sort of getting his recognition and kind of getting to, I think he's starting to produce more the projects that he gets involved with too. It's nice to see him be able to kind of work on projects that are really important to him. And his speech was very charming and low key. Yeah, I was really, really happy about that win. Sorry, Tatum is yawning.
Sorry, I'm really tired.
I know, it is getting late.
Like, I'm getting a headache. I'm so tired.
It's all right. We're going to wrap this up very soon. Any last thoughts about Cillian Murphy's win or anything else about actor-actress?
I'm not mad about it. I think he gave a great performance.
Yeah.
But I selfishly wanted Paul Giamatti to win.
Yeah. Sorry. We love you, Paul. Please get nominated for something again soon so we can root for you. All right, so and then on to Best Director, Best Picture. I'm assuming there's probably not a whole lot that we have to say. It was pretty expected.
This is the wrong decision.
Tatum is very opposed. Yeah, what would you, in your perfect world, what would you have given director and then picture to?
I love all of these for Best Directing, honestly, other than Christopher Nolan, who should not have been in this category at all. I think... the directing for all of these is so good. I think that... Geneva, I think we talked about this, that Martin Scorsese, in all of his career, I think the only time he's won Best Director was for The Departed, which is wild, considering his filmography.
That is wild.
I could be wrong about that.
I think we did talk about that, and I forgot. Wow.
But I think that's the fact of it. I think that Yorgos Lanthimos did a great job with Poor Things. Jonathan Glazer, oh my gosh, his vision of like having two movies, the one that you see and the one that you hear. Justine Triet, honestly, saying all of that out loud, I think that Jonathan Glazer would have been my personal choice. But I would not have been upset with Martin Scorsese or anyone else other than Christopher Nolan, who should not have been in this category because this movie is not well directed. But yeah, I think Jonathan Glazer would have been my choice, which is surprising me in this moment, but I feel good about it.
Yeah. It's an excellent film. Yeah. For myself, I'm so happy that Christopher Nolan won. He's someone who... Can
I just say real quick?
Oh, no, go ahead. Yeah.
I've said this a million times, but I'm going to say it again. I am a Christopher Nolan fan. Like, I am a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I've loved his movies for a long time. It's just, he doesn't always work for me. And this movie in particular, I'm not saying he's a bad director. I'm not saying I don't like what he does. This movie, I think, does not work for me. Yeah. So I just want to say that I'm not a Christopher Nolan hater.
Yeah. You're up and down on him. It seems like, yeah. He's someone who has he's so consistently working at the top of his game. The ability that he has to gather this incredible talent, have these big ideas, and somehow translate them into something that has all of this popular appeal and has so many people excited to see movies in theaters that are long and that are, on huge screens and that are shot on film. Like, the passion that he has for cinema, his curiosity, his appreciation for classic cinema, and the possibilities of the art form are just always so exciting to me. I feel like I've said this maybe before on the podcast, because like last year or 2 years ago, I don't remember exactly when, I kind of went down a little mini project of filling in the gaps in my Christopher Nolan experience. So I watched the remaining films of his that I'd never seen before. I feel like I just vibe with how he thinks and the things that he's interested in a way that I know that not everyone will, and that's totally fine. But just certain things about the way he sees the world and wants to express himself just really, really work for me specifically. And so I really appreciate that about him. But I also love the fact that, again, he manages to take certain aspects of his weird obsessions and passions and turn them into a huge blockbuster that will get people sitting in the theater. I really love the speech that he gave too, and the particular moment where he talked about how cinema is in its infancy. You know, we're only 100 years into cinema as an art form.
I loved this.
You know, think about like 100 years into the art form of theater or painting and where it could go 100 years from now. I thought that was just such a beautiful way to express it.
Christopher Nolan, always thinking in the concept of time. He's always thinking in the concept of time.
Yeah. Just always. Yeah. I saw a really great tweet after the ceremony that was like, usually Tenet is the kind of weird gonzo project that people make after their Oscar win, but instead he made it before because it's a temporal pincer movement.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway. Yeah, and then Oppenheimer obviously won Best Picture, as it was largely predicted to do. What would you have awarded Best Picture? Would you have gone for Zone of Interest as well? Would you have gone for Anatomy of a Fall? What would you have gone for?
Well, from what's on this list here, because I don't think any of my top 3 films are on this list.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
obviously,
no,
Across the Spider-Verse would have been.
Past Lives is my number 3, so I do like that movie. But I honestly don't know if Past Lives is my number 3 anymore because Anatomy of a Fall really, really has come back to me. There's 2 movies in particular this year that when I first saw them, I was like, oh yeah, that was really good. But as time has gone on, I'm like, wow, I really enjoyed it. One of which is Anatomy of a Fall. The other of which is The Holdovers. I feel like
you were really lukewarm on The Holdovers when you first saw it. I'm glad to hear it's kind of
lukewarm on it. I was just like, yeah, it was a good movie, you know, which it is, but it's grown on me more. So I feel like, I think looking at this, even though Past Lives is my number 3 as of now, like, given knowing what I know about the Oscars and how they work and looking at the whole thing put together, I feel like Anatomy of a Fall or Killers of the Flower Moon, I would have been happy with winning. Why is Maestro on this list? Why? I understand, I guess, why Oppenheimer is on this list. I think there's several movies that were way better. So yeah, I'm not surprised Oppenheimer won. We all knew it was going to. How predictable. A lot of the categories this year were predictable, I feel like. So like I can't be angry about it because I've known ever since I first watched it that it was going to win Best Picture. But yeah, I would have gone for Anatomy of a Fall or Killers of the Flower Moon. I think that we're going to look back in the future and, you know, film students or film fans are going to be obsessed with Martin Scorsese, as they always will be. But I think that Killers of the Flower Moon is going to be remembered as one of his biggest masterpieces out of his entire filmography. And it would have been cool to see that be awarded here. But
yeah. It's going to be one of those films that people are going to look back and be like, wait, that didn't win anything? What?
Yeah.
Like, how is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of my thought on that. But
yeah. I mean, overall, honestly, of this list, we talked about this when the nominations came out, but I'm overall really happy with this list. For me, Maestro is the weakest, but like I said before, it's not a bad movie. It's just the weakest link, you know?
But look at the other movies that are here, though.
Yeah. There are other movies that definitely could have and should have been on this list above it. But, you know, there are no outright stinkers, which is not the case every year. Most years, there's one or more movies where you're just like, this is outright a terrible movie. Why is it here? And it's not the case this year. And overall, I just think there's such a wonderful spread, to me, of movies by established filmmakers, movies by new up-and-coming filmmakers, female filmmakers of color. Like, there's such a wide variety in, you know, big blockbusters, small intimate dramas, you know, different perspectives, different languages. Like, it's a really exciting list just in the spread of, you know, how it demonstrates what cinema can be. Here's a cross-section of some of the best, not all the best, but some of the best cinema of 2023.
Put Across the Spider-Verse in here. Like, show animation too. But yeah, I agree with you. I feel like that is true across the whole board of nominees. I mean, there's so much. I mean, we've talked about this before. 2023 was just such a strong year for cinema. I feel like 2024, next year, it might be a little bit different, but
I don't know. We've got
But this year
I'm excited to see.
feels really good. Like you said, we've got small indies, we've got big budget, we've got foreign, we've got languages other than English, we have women represented, we have people of color of all different countries and backgrounds and cultures represented. You know, we've got the old legends of the Scorseses, but we've got the new, it's just, it is very exciting, and it gives me hope seeing, the speeches that people gave last night kind of talking about how much they love cinema and what could cinema look like in the future, and give opportunities to people who have original ideas. We don't have to keep spending all this money on all of these things. And I don't know, the ceremony last night really gave me a lot of hope for the future of cinema. And I think that this Best Picture list kind of is a good representation of that. So,
yeah. All right. Well,
would love to see more women directors, but
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
We got one, so
we got the one
win.
designated female slot.
Yeah.
Yeah, would love to see more.
Greta Gerwig, R.I.P. Why is she not here? Whatever.
Celine Song.
Celine's, whatever. I'm not even getting. It's fine.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Anyway, all right. So I think that wraps it up. Any sort of last final takeaways or other individual moments from the ceremony that you want to shout out? I do have to shout out that one cutaway to the dog from Anatomy of a Fall.
Oh,
clapping,
yeah.
Which is so silly, and it just tickled me. I loved it so much.
Yeah.
I don't remember even when it happened, but
yeah,
it was great.
Yeah, nothing in particular. I thought that the ceremony last night was very inspiring, and I like feeling inspired about cinema because I don't always feel that way. So yeah, it was good. Yeah, I look forward to seeing what this next year is going to be. This year was so strong. I feel like
I know. Yeah, obviously we've got, Dune has just come out. That could be potentially the big sort of blockbuster awards player, but we have so many other films that are coming out later this year that I don't even know what's coming out.
There's a few coming out in the next few weeks, actually, that I'm
really excited about.
But
yeah. Well,
all right.
Excited to see. All right. So let's wrap this baby up and head to bed.
Yeah, seriously. We love you guys, but man.
We do. Yes.
We're really tired.
All right. So, just a little bit of housekeeping. We did take a week off, but our Phantom of the Opera episode will be posted next week instead of last week. So you have an extra week to go and watch it. You're welcome. I really enjoyed recording that episode. That was so much fun.
It was so fun. I'm so glad you made me watch that movie again. It was great.
Me too.
It's so fun.
Right. Okay, so thank you all for listening. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at yourpigpod@gmail.com. Our theme song was composed by Joel Rushton. Our podcast graphic was designed by Kara Shin. If you like the show and want to hear more, please rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We're excited to have you on this journey with us. Well, thanks so much for listening.
Next time.
Until next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.